Perfect.
I'm working on it.
Woohoo!
There we
Hey,
go.
look
Oh
at
my
that.
God, ladies and gentlemen, as
Oh
we
my
live and
gosh.
breathe, it's Anna Via McLean. Now, I wanna just preface this by saying, if any of you guys don't know Anna Via McLean, you need to
Hi.
know her. Her company is Piccolo Solutions. It is a marketing and branding company. She's won all sorts of awards. I cannot, if I had to tell you everything she's won, that would be the end of the show. So we're not gonna do that. But Anavia is going to really talk about the 90-second pitch. She's going to reiterate some of the things that we've already said, but she's kind of the expert on this. So take it away, Anavia.
Appreciate it. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and also thank you for your patience and your grace. I don't know if you've ever had a day that has gone completely outside of the plans that you had for today, but it was a perfect storm today of all of those things. And so thank you both for keeping everything rolling and for, answering questions and all of those things. Because we've got, about 40 minutes left, I want to be kind of to the point here and give you guys some structure around these 90-second pitches, and then give you guys some opportunity to ask questions at the end. So again, thank you for that, Grace. So what we are talking about, I know we've already had an introduction to pitches, and now we're talking about specifically a 90-second pitch. And I have heard a lot of these, not only in my business, but in the groups that I'm part of, last year's Powerhouse Panels and Pitches event. And I know that the hardest part, anytime that I'm doing a presentation, the hardest part is understanding how to get everything I want to say, because if you can't tell in the last 20 seconds, I'm a talker, into the very limited amount of time that I have to say it. And so let's talk about, just to get started, the structure of a 90-second pitch. As I was trying to log in a moment ago, I heard Lisa mentioning about your value points, your unique value propositions, and fitting those in. But let's break this down into the actual 90 seconds that you have. And I'm going to forewarn you, if you have this limited amount of time, it is going to behoove you to have either a full script, or at least some very concise talking points, and a whole lot of practice. If I have 45 minutes to 60 minutes to speak, I can be a lot more fluid about what I decide to share. When you've got 90 solid seconds, you're going to have to really define it and own it. So right out of the gate, you're going to start, and you've got to get attention. And that can be really challenging because every other person that's stepping up is trying to get attention as well. What I'm going to recommend is that you spend the first 10 to 12 seconds on a brief introduction. And again, 10 to 12 seconds is very brief, right? So a brief introduction that's going to capture attention. I don't know how many of you took any sort of like creative writing course, either in, college or in school, but, you always want to get something started that generates curiosity. So for example, I am not going to come in and say, hi, I'm Anna Vian. I'm the owner of Piccolo Solutions, and we are an X, Y, and Z company that does X, Y, and Z. And here's a whole list of everything we do or sell, because that quickly becomes overwhelming. And in a whole litany of pitches, it's not going to gauge, or it's not going to create any engagement or curiosity. So again, going back to creative writing classes, thinking about making really bold statements about your product or your services, about something that your company has done or achieved. Think about asking questions. What's a question that, or two or three, that you can ask that'll really gain someone's attention, that'll make them stop for a moment in everything that's going on and think about, gosh, how would I answer that? Why are they asking me that question? How are they going to solve that problem that they just posed? Right? So one of the great ways to get people curious and then transition into your pitch is by identifying their pain points, right? So for me, I am a marketing agency that works with small business owners, and I know what the pain points are for small business owners. That's just something that we've done a lot of work with. It's strategically how we've built the company. So I can immediately start by invoking emotion around small business owners feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, constantly trying to be on top of the learning curve when it comes to fast changing technology and marketing opportunities and solutions, feeling like they're the only one who knows how to do something. If you've ever thought or said to yourself, I'm the only one who knows how to do this, I'm the only one who can do it right or well. These are just a few examples of ways that you can take your business and identify the pain points of your client or your customer and turn that into an engaging or curiosity-inducing introduction. We're going to try to do that for the first 10 to 12 seconds, but whatever you're putting in there, I also want to make sure that it can segue into the next 25-ish seconds. So if you're making some notes, right, you're going to have the first 10 seconds introduction, and then the next 25-ish seconds, you want to state the problem. Why did you start a company? Why did you invent that product or start selling it? Why do you offer the solutions or the services that you do? What's the problem that you're solving? This allows them to connect with you in a way that like resonates through the rest of your pitch. So if you're not able to state what the pain point is, or you're not able to get them to buy into the problem, then you're just going to be trying to sell them something that they're not connecting or resonating with. So things that are really helpful in this next 25 seconds as you're stating the problem. Show you've done some of your homework. Add in some additional facts or statistics. Things that are going to demonstrate that the problem that you're solving is a real problem. I will give you an example. We had a woman that it was actually a SCORE client of ours, right? And she came to one of my branding workshops, and she came with a giant bag full of fully bedazzled purses. And they were gorgeous. The purses were gorgeous. They were like hand done and details and just amazing. And when we asked her what problem she was solving, because we're going through a branding workshop, she said, well, I was trying to find a bag that I liked for like a fancy night out, and I couldn't find ones I like. And so I just started my own company. Now that is not a problem. But when we started to evaluate what her market was and how many people would want this particular style and level of design for super fancy nights out, she began to realize that maybe her audience was a lot smaller than she thought, because the problem wasn't as big or pervasive as she maybe thought it was. So when you're considering the problem that you're solving, in that 25 seconds, you're going to want to get real specific. X% of small business owners are not able to keep up with their marketing on a regular basis, and that leads to X% in lost revenue or sales. As you can tell, I do not know those numbers off the top of my head. We're just using some examples, right? I'm sure I could find some reports to fill it in though. So using statistics or facts to demonstrate the breadth of the problem that you're solving will help those who are judging the pitches understand the capacity that you have for impact, right? It's also something that you want to make sure that you're really defining what that impact is. So if you've got, if you're identifying this problem, where is your solution going to help? If that's not clear, right? So I'm going to use the woman with the purses again. The problem is that there's a specific kind of aesthetic that you want for that special night out, that special evening. There's an accessory that you want to match your outfit, right? But if that doesn't naturally correlate over to, I started an entire line of purses specifically for that problem, if there's ambiguity in there, you are not going to be able to pull and transition the pitch judges over into the next section of your presentation. So you want to make sure that you're framing the problem very clearly so that you can transition it into your unique solution. Okay. So you're going to spend about 25 seconds being very clear about the problem you're solving and how pervasive or big that problem is. Who are you impacting with this? In the next little section of your notes, you're going to write down stage 3 or section 3, which is about 20 seconds long. And you want to discuss the solution that you have. This is where some, right as I was joining in, I heard, what are the unique, qualities of what you're doing, the unique value proposition? What is your product or service solving that's special? This is where you want to highlight that, right? So like when I come in and say I have a marketing agency for small business owners, I mean it. What I don't mean is that we're a big box agency and that we just say we help small business owners. And then when we call, we go, oh yeah, that's an $80,000 launch campaign. That's not what we're doing. You have to define what's unique about your product or service. So for us, it means meeting people wherever they are in the journey with different products and solutions, and then growing with them over time. How can you take your business and define how you're strategically and uniquely helping your target audience? So let's look at a couple of examples. Some of that might be the products and services you're selling are uniquely crafted or designed to help that target audience in that product. But some of it might be what Lisa mentioned earlier, where it's like this specific feature is different than other products or services on the market. Right? So maybe you have, I think, or Lisa, were you talking about skin cream? What was it that you were talking about?
I was talking about my incredible idea to have face glue that pulls your skin back so that you don't have wrinkles.
Sure.
And why
Yes.
my glue might be better than,
Okay.
some face creams, because it works immediately.
Because it's glue, right?
Because it's glue. And you pull it off every night and you put it on every morning.
And you're good. And you're good to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So whatever that might be, right? So I'm a couple of examples in my own life. I am a big advocate for like animal rights and safety and all of those things. And so I intentionally look to buy products that, especially like, personal care products that have the cruelty approved like little like icon on them, right? So if I'm considering like, hey, I'm going to go get a new face cream, I'm strategically looking for one that is considered vegan or cruelty free across the board. So maybe that's something that's not only a feature of your product, but it's also like an ethos of your company, right? So think about what you're bringing to the market with your solution, not just in terms of quantifiable differences, but also sort of like emotional or passionate differences. How are you coming to the market as a person who owns the business and is, again, comprehensive, not just like, well, we checked all the boxes of the things that this needs to have to be different, right? So again, we strategically help small business owners. That is a passion of mine. And we get encouraged all the time to help bigger companies because they have more money and they're not as much trouble and then blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It's not as fulfilling as helping small business owners. So that's what we do. And the reason we do it is because of the impact that we're able to make, even though it doesn't, it's not as much money and maybe it's a little bit more tedious. I get it. That's part of it. But we also feel more fulfilled because that's who we are as a company and who we want to help and what we believe helps our community, right? So as you're coming through all of this and you're either your product or your service or both, make a little short list. This is something that's helped me in the past because as a marketer, I want to list everything. Here's everything I could possibly ever do for you. Which one of those resonates and do you want to talk about more? Oh my God, how overwhelming, right? If I just start listing things out, oh, you need help with marketing? We do website and SEO and social and email and ads and digital, social ads, and we do blogs and photos and videos and just, oh my God, like somewhere on the third or fourth one, your eyes glaze over and you're like, I don't really care about this anymore because I need to focus on my own problems, not try to figure out where I fit in to your services. Do the exercise of writing it all down. What are all of the products or services and values and unique things that you offer? And then prioritize them. So think about your target audience. Think about the pain point that you just presented, that problem that you're solving, and pick the top 2 or 3 things that speak directly to that. That's what you need to focus on. It's your go-to-market strategy. Those are the things that are going to most inspire someone to say, that thing that you have solves that problem that you've identified. that's where I want to get involved and help support you and make a bigger impact, right? So you've got about 20 seconds where you're going to say, here are the prioritized things, products or services that I'm offering to solve that problem that we just talked about. Okay. From there, you're going to have about 15 seconds left in your 90-second pitch. So you're going to want to wrap it up with a really great close. So just the way we opened with something impactful, you want to close with something really impactful. So this is one where a script, I usually kind of am going off, like I've got some talking points and I'm kind of going off the cuff, right? Not in a 90-second pitch, friends. In a 90-second pitch, you're going to write a really powerful closing statement. And you're going to practice that over and over again. And you're going to say it to yourself in the shower. And you're going to say it to yourself in the car. And you're going to say it to yourself while you're brushing your teeth in your head because you're brushing your teeth. You're going to say it over and over and over again so that when you end, you're going to end strong, right? So I can't tell you what your closing statement should be because it's completely unique from company to company. But usually what you're trying to do is get somebody on board with an emotional response. So you've said, here's something that's driving curiosity. Here's something that touches on a pain point. Here's a solution that solves it with data, facts, unique value propositions. And at the end, you want to push that little emotional nerve because people take action when they feel emotion. So I'll give you an example. I was on the board of the Tennessee Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. It is a terrible pandemic across our country, across the world, really, right? And there is no amount of statistics that I can give you about domestic violence and sexual assault that will have the same impact as having a woman who has experienced it and is a survivor tell you her story. I can give you a book's worth of data about how terrible it is, right? And people will be like, okay, but if you have a woman stand up there and tell her story and you hear the emotion in her voice, the trauma that she went through, that's where donations come in. That's when people feel so moved that they get goosebumps. It hurts their heart. They think back to moments in their life when they felt that way, when they went through something similar or a friend went through something similar. And they pull out their checkbook and they make a donation. It's very similar when you're doing a pitch. You have to trigger something emotional to lead. You've given them all the data. You've got to leave them with something so impactful that they go, in my soul, I want to support this cause. I want to solve that problem. I want to make it better. So whatever that is, take a moment, take a quiet moment and a big breath and think about why you started this business to begin with. What was the emotion that you felt? It might have been one of loss, like a negative emotion or fear. Maybe you didn't have enough money and you needed something to tell, whatever it might be. Think about the positive emotions. Is there freedom? Are you able to give people something that makes them feel good about themselves on a day-to-day basis, like face glue, apparently, right? Is that something, right? Whatever the emotion is, dig deep and write something that really inspires that emotion as your closing statement. You've got 15 seconds. So it can be a couple of sentences, but I will tell you, I am the fastest talker. I am going to talk. And in those last 15 seconds, you got to take a deep breath and you got to say that closing statement clearly and in a way that makes that impact. If you just rush through it, you are not going to tap into that emotional nerve. So you've got to leave yourself some room in that 15 seconds to take a breath, capture the room's attention, and then deliver that closing statement. Okay. Now, if you do your math, that means you've got 90 seconds here in 5 segments. So 10 seconds to generate curiosity with an introduction, 25 seconds to state the problem, giving data and statistics. Why is this a big problem that needs to be solved? Then you've got 20 seconds to present your solution. Did I miss one? Oh, I absolutely missed one. Yep. If you're doing your math, the math is not adding up right now. She's confused. She's like, wait a second. I absolutely skipped over one. I'm sorry. I got really ahead of myself. That does not negate the importance of the 15-second emotional close. All of that still stands. For a moment with me, come back right before the emotional close. When you're done discussing your solution, you're going to want to take about 20 seconds to reinforce evidence in the market. Sorry, that's what reminded me as I was talking about market impact and I jumped over that one. I got excited. So really quickly, 10 seconds introduction, 25 seconds to state the problem, 20 seconds to discuss your solution, and then the next 20 seconds, you're going to show evidence of the market. So one of the things that investors want to see is the potential for revenue, the potential for like an actual successful business. So once you've said this is the problem and then this is the solution, that's when you're going to tie it into the market and how you are going to bring your product or service to the market to generate a successful business, to create revenue and profitability. You're going to be able to, you're going to need to be able to identify your target audience. So if you have, Lisa, can we send out the brand worksheet? We have everyone's email address, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So we have a brand worksheet. I used to teach a brand workshop for SCORE, and we actually boiled it down to like a really helpful worksheet that you can fill out. And one of the things that it asks you to do is mentally walk through who your target audience is. So in this section, this 20 seconds where you're showing evidence of the market, you want to imagine, like I'm sitting in my office right now. If I imagined that the perfect client for me, or customer, depending on how you define it, customer or client, walked in this door, who is that person? Because it's not everybody, right? The very perfect client or target avatar, what do they look like? So think through things like, how old are they? Are they like, they have a specific job? Is what you're selling tied to their work? Are you business to business, right? Do they have to have a certain amount of income, certain amount of disposable income to be able to afford your product or service? Is this something that's relevant to a lot of different target audiences? Understood, but which one's the best target audience, right? So we don't want to try to sell all things to all people. We want to be able to narrow it down. What gender are they? Right? Are you going to be able to sell face glue better to women who are in their, mid 30s to mid 50s that have a disposable income and a history of buying, like spa packages? Probably. Does that mean that you can't sell it to their husbands for Mother's Day? No, but that's a once a year event. All year, you need to be marketing to those women, right? So you want to really think through, you can probably sell to a lot of different people, but who's your best target audience? That's what you want to define for your pitch. Because if you come in and say, I can sell this to everybody, what investors hear is you spending a lot of time trying to sell all things to all people and not permeating a specific market. It's a lot of wasted time and effort when you're just doing the shotgun approach, right? You want to have a laser focus to show them that you know who your audience is, you know where they are, and you know how you're going to talk to them to get this solution in their hands. Okay. So what that means is defining who your target audience is, defining where they are. So maybe that's like, we're going to have a store and that store is located here. And so the geographic territory within X number of miles, that's who we're targeting. Maybe you have an online product or service. Well, it can be the whole world, but is it really? Right? Or is there a specific target area that you're going to go to first because it's it's a rich environment for your sales process? So who you're talking to, where they are, right? And then specifically when I say like how big that problem is, that's where you can throw in some projections. So I know this is a 90-second. You are not giving them 15 slides of all of your budget and revenue numbers, but 1 or 2 sentences of, Our estimations show that this target audience that looks like X, Y, and Z in this location, X, Y, and Z, could potentially generate this amount of revenue, X, Y, and Z, in this amount of time, X, Y, and Z, right? So using some similar formula to that: person, place, potential revenue, potential time frame. So that takes all the data that you've put into the front end of the presentation and ties it up into a, why would you give me money for this? And where would that money generate an ROI for the investor? Okay, so now, thank you for backtracking with me. Now you should have 90 seconds worth of content, right? So 10 seconds for a curiosity-inducing introduction, 25 seconds for identifying a common problem and pain points, 20 seconds to present your unique solution, another 20 seconds to demonstrate your market: who, where, how much, in what time frame. And then your final 15 seconds for an emotionally impactful closing. Okay. So with the last few minutes here before I get into Q&A, I'm going to give you a couple of tips on this. Draft your talking points or your full script. I will tell you that it depends on who you are and how comfortable you are as a speaker. I don't like to have a specific word for word script unless I can physically read it at a podium, because if I go off the script in my head, I freak out. And then what happens is I completely lose my place. The energy and the emotion of the moment overwhelm me. I can't do it, right? If I can read it, then I'm fine. But if I can't, I need talking points. So in the first 10 seconds, I have these 2 talking points and I'm keeping it brief. In the next 25 seconds, I have these talking points, that kind of thing. Whatever you feel most comfortable with is where you should go. But write it down and then practice it. Get your little timer and practice it, and then edit and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Practice and practice and practice and practice. Okay. So the more times you practice, even if you're brushing your teeth and you're saying section 2 in your head with 2 talking points, the more comfortable you are with the content and that format, the more comfortable you will be the day of. And I will tell you, being comfortable and confident in your presentation is a lot more valuable than having 15 bullet points that you've got to get through, right? I'm not investing money in someone who does not seem comfortable or confident in what they're presenting me. Even if I know that they're nervous about public speaking, it resonates. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. You don't seem very confident about what you're telling me. Why would I give you money? So practice, practice, practice. The next thing is, I know you have 90 seconds. Only plan enough content for like 80 to 85 seconds. Because you're going to need to breathe in there somewhere. And you might stumble over your words. And you might have to take a moment to remember what your next talking point is, right? So you can have your little cheat sheet, but what I'm saying is give yourself time to make some mistakes, to take a breath. If you have to be talking a mile a minute to get in 90 seconds worth of content, it's a recipe for disaster. So give yourself a little bit of room in there to pause or to make a mistake. Speaking of which, it's okay to use notes. So if you have a little note card, you have a little piece of paper, if you have your phone, make sure it doesn't go into battery saving mode or whatever in the middle of your presentation. Mine will turn off after 30 minutes or whatever. Anyway, it's okay to use notes. Make sure the notes are formatted so that when you glance at them in the moment, you can find your place. So if you write yourself a novel that is a script, it will be much harder for you to glance at that in the moment and find your place and speak from it. Couple of tricks I use here. I will bold every other line so that my eye can find the content I'm looking for faster. We talked about the 5 different sections. You might bold section 1's header, section 2's header, section 3, and then put a couple of bullet points after it, so that your eye can quickly find it when you glance at your notes. The other thing I do is I change the color of the text. So I might be like, section 1 is purple. My introduction is purple. And I know that seems silly, but they're not going to see it. And when I look at it and glance at it, my eye, because of what I did during my practice sessions, knows I'm looking for the purple section or the red section or whatever it might be. Okay. Try to do a dry run, and a dry run is different than practice. So, right, like just practicing in your head is fine. Try to do a dry run either with a friend, with your spouse or your partner, in front of a mirror, with a coworker. There has to be a little added pressure for your dry run. So me just like doing my hair, talking to myself is not going to be the same amount of pressure as stepping in front of somebody and being like, hey, Lisa, can I run this by you a couple of times? Right? Lisa's amazing. And she's one of my, I love her and she's a big cheerleader, but there is a pressure to presenting in front of a human, or even like recording yourself on video. Even seeing yourself in the mirror is going to give you a little taste of what it's going to feel like to stand in front of that audience and pitch. So don't skip this part. Make sure that you give yourself a little bit of practice with that heightened pressure. And the last thing is remembering that all of this is part of your growth process. So if you win the pitch, awesome. If you win the money, that's amazing. If you don't, it's okay. Just because you didn't win doesn't mean that you didn't just present your amazing company and concept to a room full of people and opportunities. So when you are waiting to give your pitch, when you're listening to other people's pitches, when you're done and you're networking and you're all of those things, don't think that if your pitch wasn't selected, that it means that your time or your day was wasted. There are so many other opportunities in that room. Meet people. Bring business cards, set coffee meetings, right? Just because someone didn't pick your pitch that day doesn't mean that that room isn't full of possibilities for growth. That's what SCORE is all about. It's about connecting you to people and resources and education that's going to help you grow, right? So have that mindset. We want you to be successful, but we also need to redefine what success looks like, because it doesn't mean you have to win. It could mean that you meet some really amazing people that lead you to other opportunities to purchase your products or services, or to help you grow with strategic partnerships. Yeah.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of, there are going to be a lot of people in the audience that are not necessarily people that are pitching or friends and family. It may be people that are coming to hear about women businesses in the area that they could either invest in and or buy their products or services. And so keep in mind that you may make the connection that you didn't even know that you would meet in that room. And then there's also going to be a panel full of wonderful people that may also end up wanting to use you. We do have some questions.
Yes, please. I wanted to leave a few minutes.
Okay. So one was, is there a good way or resource to come up with our financial projections, which should be probably part of your business plan, but at the same time, you have to revamp those.
Can you repeat the question? How do we come up with the financial planning?
Yeah, where do you find resources or a good way to find that information for your financial projections?
Got it. Lisa's probably going to be able to answer this one better, but I will say that in all of the pitches that I've been in, and I own a multi-million-dollar company, I will tell you, projections are projections. So you're not projecting like, I sell a 42-cent like pencil eraser and I'm going to be selling millions of those next month, right? But like also like there is some estimation to it. Lisa, do you have specific resources we can point them to?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I think that anybody that is going to be participating in this pitch who does not already have a SCORE mentor needs to sign up for a SCORE mentor, because that's the kind of thing that we help people with. You're right. Coming up with these estimates, it's what we call a WAG, a wild ass guess. But there are some reasons behind what we do. It's not just madness.
Yeah.
So we've been more than happy. If anybody wants a mentor to help them with this aspect of their pitch, please go to score.org/Nashville and sign up for a mentor.
Another resource would be if you go to if you're looking to do a strategic business plan, if you read like books like, How to Do a Strategic Business Plan for Dummies, or one of those kind of books,
Mhm.
they have resource lists in there. Oops, sorry. They have resource lists in there that can help you find targeted census data. Who all lives in that area? If you're starting a barber shop in East Nashville, how many people live there? If you're focused on men, how many men live there? So that is also somewhere you can go and look, is census data.
That's where that target information comes in. So to your point,
Mhm.
it's not the entire population of Nashville is potentially a client for my small business marketing company. No, it's not. Right. So I have to be able to say it's a small business owner. Their business is about this much, bringing in this, it's this old, blah, blah, blah. Then I can pull on those numbers to be very realistic about what the possible audience is. Yeah.
Okay, and then another question that we got was, can we bring the product, or in my case, show the app as part of the pitch?
Can I answer that one, please?
Yes.
During the 90-second pitch, absolutely not.
Mhm.
The 90-second pitch, it's you.
Mhm.
That's it. You stand up, you do your thing, you do it incredibly well, you get everybody sucked in, you go on to the 3-minute pitch if you get lucky. In the 3-minute pitch, you will have a very short period of time to set something up. You can use slides. You will need to bring the slides with you or give them to us before you come, in hopes that you will be one of those people that will go on.
Mm.
We'll be sending you information about that as we get closer to the event, though.
Mhm.
The next one is, can you share that timeline again for how long and the
Yes.
order?
Yes, absolutely. So the first 10 seconds are going to be your curiosity creation, your introduction. So captivate, engage, don't just say, hi, I'm this person and I do this thing. Like, create some sort of engagement or curiosity, 10 seconds. 25 seconds to state the problem, giving examples of the pain point, statistics that are really powerful. Why is this a problem? What is the problem? 20 seconds is where you're going to present your solution. So that's your unique value proposition. What's different about your product, the features, that kind of thing. 20 seconds. Then the next 20 seconds are showing evidence of your market. So you're going to say, this is who I'm selling to. This is where they are, about how much I am projecting, and a time frame for that. So you want to give some of that, like tying all of the problems and solutions into numbers. And then you're going to end with a 15-second wrap up that has a really emotionally impactful closing line. So something that elicits emotion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Amy here, and Amy's got a specific question about her particular business. Amy?
Is this the one about the niche market size?
This is one about, she's going after people who are over 50, who are gun carriers. Yeah.
Yes. 6 million or 40 million can see over the age of 50. So Amy, to answer your question, because I see this, yes, I mean, you want to talk about your niche market size. So this is a really specific audience, like over 50, gun carrier. And I think I'm understanding you have a $6 million market size, but you have 40 million people with concealed carry. You have to make a decision as to which one is going to be the most targeted for you. So there's a balance between, you can sell the 40 million people concealed carry, but 6 million is not a small audience, right? And if you have a better chance of converting sales with 6 million because of your brand, your message, your company ethos, your products or services, I would rather hear that than like, oh, I'm going to take this, which is a hyper targeted solution, to 40 million people and have a lower close rate or conversion rate. I hope that answers your question. Other questions?
Oh, there was another question, and this is probably more towards Lisa and I. When is the pitch contest? And is this open to males or is it females only? So Lisa, do you want to answer it? You want me to?
Sure, I'll answer it. So last year we got a grant to do a female-only pitch.
Mhm.
And we did have some people that said, why is it just for women? Well, it turns out that women have much less access to capital. It's like 20% of women get loans versus like 80% of men get loans. There's some ridiculous number like that. So we just felt like since the event was so successful last year, that we would just continue again this year and help women to get access to whatever capital we could help them with. So I apologize to all males that are out there. Maybe we will do a co-ed pitch next time. I don't know. We haven't made that decision yet, but certainly the pitch, the entire event is open to men.
Mhm.
Please come. We've got all sorts of small business resources that we'd be very happy for you to network with as well. And I'm sure you'll be inspired by the women who are pitching.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
We have a
Oh, yeah.
couple of other questions. We just had one that said, can I have my daughter give the pitch on my behalf? Or does the company need to be women owned? It does need to be 51% women owned.
Yes.
Then there was one question I think you already addressed, Lisa, that I've left in the Q&A. Last training for pitching, I received an email stating I missed the webinar.
Yes, and we will make sure that you are down as attended. And I appreciate you letting us know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, gosh, this was fantastic. Thank you guys all for coming.
Yeah.
Anavia, thank you for coming and
Thank you.
truly being the expert. That was wonderful. We will have this this recording up on the Nashville SCORE website in a couple of days. And if you guys are considering doing the pitch, please come to the next event, which is on Tuesday, the 13th. We will be doing a presentation on how to create a 3-minute pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you all there.
Thank you so much. Really
Oh, and the
appreciate
pitch
it.
competition